Today we are going to do things a little different because this type of subject needs to be discussed. Because as of right now in 2024, it is getting out of hand. And shout out to Zaria Simmons. Link will be pinned in the description. So you guys can go over there and check out her channel, show her some love. Because she's another person that feels the same way like a lot of us do. And something has to change.
Here is my little 2 cents that nobody asked for. I am sick of seeing Black Americans in the media, on social media, in the news, doing crime, walking around next to naked, the women, the men perpetuating gang violence, substance abuse. The absolute worst of our community is oversaturating the media, even though they make up a small percentage of all of Black Americans. The decay of our morality within Black communities has been slowly declining over the past 20 years, and no one is talking about it, no one is saying anything about it or trying to address it. And if you do, you are often told that you're policing Black bodies. If you say Black women, stop getting on the internet and in the media, twerking, walking around with little clothes on. People tell you that you're policing bodies, policing Black bodies, or it's respectability politics. If you are Black and you speak your piece on what we're seeing in the media, if you don't like seeing the low morality that is often portrayed about the Black community in the media, from the trap music to the Black women twerking in music videos and all over social media, the Sukihanas and the Sexy Reds of the world, if you are Black and you take issue with it and you talk about it, you are usually called bourgeois, sedity, uppity, it's respectability politics, you're policing Black bodies and the like. And it's like, no.
Glad you mentioned those names. Sukiana and the Sexy Reds. Those are bad influence on our beautiful young girls growing up. They promote nothing but self-destruct, degenerate music. Music that don't even motivate you. It lowers your self-esteem type of music. And that is what being pushed in the front of all the conscious music. There's no Alicia Keys no more, man. There's no Missy Elliott's. There's no Aaliyah. There's none of those anymore. You guys ever noticed that? All they're pushing is all this type of music talking about being with this guy, getting money and twerking. That's all they promote. That's all that you're seeing being pushed to the front. Anything that's conscious, that uplift you and give you pride in yourself, that's suppressed. And you want to tell me they're not doing this intentionally? Destroying this generation that's coming up.
I'm Black too, and as such, this being my ethnic culture as well, I have a right to have something to say about what I'm seeing going on. Your average Black American is a middle-class, working-class, blue-collar Jane and Joe. The ghetto subculture, Black ghetto subculture that we see often portrayed and over inundated and oversaturating the media, those Black Americans make up a tiny percentage of Black Americans as a whole, but somehow they're in the media, overcompensating in the media, oversaturating the media. I know I don't just speak for myself when I say that I'm sick of seeing it, that it's gross, that it is destroying what Black culture actually is. It's co-opting Black culture as a whole and making it seem as though all of Black culture is ghetto subculture. I'm not the only Black American who takes issue with it. Because like I said, majority of Black America is middle class, not in the ghettos, not out here perpetuating gang violence, promiscuity, and everything else. And I don't care if you claim it's respectability politics. I guess so be it. Because this is gross. It's getting really gross out here how blatantly disrespectful and low class we're acting on social media and in the media, on the internet, on TV. And you can claim that this is someone else's set of moral standards, but no, it isn't. It isn't. Look at Black America in the 50s, in the 60s. Our moral standards back then, drastically different from what we have today, or what we're convincing ourselves is a moral standard today. Every racial group on the face of the planet has their own ghetto subculture within their respective racial and ethnic groups. This is the case for everybody, everywhere. White people, Asian people, Mexican people, you name it. The difference is that those racial groups and those ethnic groups do not allow their ghetto subculture to co-opt the entire culture as a whole and to represent the entire culture as a whole. They don't allow it.
Thank you. I was just saying something similar to that before, because that's what's happening right now. You got the Sukiana, the Sexy Red. You have the Ice Spice. Yes, they're the up front, being promoted, being pushed. And you know what they say? The loudest one gets the attention, right? Because that's like she was saying, the regular hard-working Black Americans and Black people do not condone in this nonsense. They're at home raising their family, going to work, they're paying their taxes. Yes, they don't condone in this type of nonsense. Because I saw a video, even with Sexy Red, she went to a high school and she couldn't perform. I don't know what high school want her to come to perform, but anyways, she couldn't perform because she smelled of straight marijuana. So they said she couldn't perform. You know what she did, guys? She waited until school was over, wait at front, all the kids came out, oh, Sexy Red is there, and she playing her music and twerking out of the hood of her truck. You telling me that's who you bringing to your school to perform? What is she going to teach these kids? Exactly, nothing.
Everybody else within that respective ethnic group or cultural group or racial group has a right to say how they want to see themselves represented in the media, what they want to see and what they don't want to see, who gets to speak for them and who does not. Except for when you're a Black American and you have something to say about the way that you see Black Americans being portrayed in the media and you have a critique for your peers. You can't do it because it's respectability politics if you attempt to do it. Or you're judging your peers by a set of moral standards that somebody else created, which is a farce. From the Reconstruction era down through the 60s, Black Americans had their own set of moral standards and social protocols that we adhered to. Ask your grannies, ask your great grannies, they'll tell you. I have had just about enough of seeing Black culture being drugged through the muck by other Black Americans who are perverting it and turning Black culture, something that is beautiful, into something perverse. Showing their ass on the internet all the time. The men are constantly rapping and talking about gang violence. Our children are uneducated and stupid. We've created a cultural standard of promiscuity and single motherhood. And when a Black American goes to critique and judge our peers, our fellow Black Americans, and critique the condition of our neighborhoods today, they're shut down. That's respectability politics. You're policing Black Americans. If that's what it is, so be it. So be it. It needs to be said. And in order for us to attempt to escape accountability or responsibility on our own part, we claim that the conditions that we see in Black communities is being caused by somebody else. It's not our own fault. It's white people and it's structural racism or something or another. It's everybody else's fault except for our own. Give me a break. It's pitiful. It's pitiful that we refuse to take accountability for the things that we see going on in our communities. And sure, we can acknowledge that structural racism and the history of slavery in this country and discrimination and Jim Crow and Black codes and all of that has played a part in the conditions and some of the conditions that we see in Black communities. But we also have to be responsible for the ways in which Black Americans create their own conditions and contribute to the degenerative effects that we see going on in our communities. Black Americans who don't want to hear that immediately run to innocence. They rush to innocence. They claim that it's respectability politics to call out these issues in our community. They claim that it's policing Black bodies to call out the low morality and the moral decay in our community. Call it whatever you want. You're not going to get me to shut up about it. I'm Black. This is my culture too. I have a right to talk about and critique what is happening in my culture and have something to say about it. That's all.
Shout out to Zaria Simmons. Like I said, link will be in the description to the video and the channel. Hop over there, guys, and show her some love. All right? She said so many things that is factual. You can't even argue it or dispute it because it's the truth. We're watching the downfall, pretty much like a self-destruct in the Black community. I'm watching young men hanging out, 14, 15 years old, with guns, watching 12 years old, making drill music, flashing money, and guns. How is that allowed? Like where? What other culture you see doing that? 12 years old flashing guns? I'm talking about spinning the block on your ops. Sexy red, nothing but disrespectful music, making degrading women, talking about twerk and shake. That's all she does. Sukiana, the same. That's all she does. Ice Spice, same thing. That's all she does. I could go down the list of 10 of them, and that's all they do. Promote stuff and sell you stuff that is self-destructive. Thomas Sowell talked about this.
After the Second World War, you've got large numbers of American troops remaining in Germany. For that matter, there's still several tens of thousands there today. And both black and white American soldiers had children with German women. And Flynn discovered that those children growing up in Germany showed no IQ differences at all. The black kids and the white kids, the same. Professor Flynn concluded that the reason was that the offspring of black soldiers in Germany grew up in a nation with no black subculture, close quote. Which means what? Which means they experienced exactly the same expectations. Is this
No, the expectations are external. The culture in which they grew up was not the culture in which black kids grew up in America today.
So they had...
There's no gangster rap that was pervasively available in Germany.
So here's what I'm getting. There is something about black subculture in America today that holds African Americans themselves back?
Yes, because that very same subculture held whites in the South back as well. That in the time this mental testing in the First World War turned up, among other things, the fact that whites from various 4 or 5 southern states scored lower on the mental test than blacks from 4 or 5 northern states. And so it really was a question of the subculture that was there, which was a handicap to both. I could go on for days about the social degeneration, but let me give you just one quick example. When I grew up in Harlem in the 40s and 50s, I never heard a gunshot. Now, I'm sure someone fired a gun somewhere in Harlem, but it was not such a pervasive thing that you had to hear it. You know, I have relatives in Washington. I asked them the same question. People in my generation.
Growing up in Washington, D.C.
Yes, and low-income black neighborhoods. Did you ever hear a gunshot when you were growing up? And the answer was no. I have relatives in North Carolina. I asked the same question. No. And now, you know, people in housing projects especially, they put kids, some of them, to bed in bathtubs so that they won't be hit by stray bullets in the night. Now we take it for granted that there's tremendous levels of crime and violence in the black community. That was not always the case. In the 20s, it was very common for white celebrities, including George Gershwin and William Faulkner, to go up to Harlem not only for entertainment places, but to go into private homes of people they knew. And Gershwin played Rhapsody in Blue in this home where Walter White lived. Milton Friedman, when he was a graduate student at Columbia, he and the lady he later married would go dancing at the Savoy Ballroom in Harlem. And he said we had no fear of being mugged or accosted on the street or anything like that.
I've heard you say, Tom, when you were a boy growing up in Harlem yourself, your own neighborhood felt totally safe to you.
Not totally safe. I wouldn't exaggerate, but there's nothing resembling today. I mean, I did sleep on hot nights. I would sleep out on the fire escape. When I tell people in Harlem that today, they think I'm from another galaxy.
Only you have the power to stop that. The majority of black folks are hardworking people. Yes, I know a lot of them that are managers, own businesses, doing great in life. But for some reason, they are pushing this more on the younger generation that's coming up. And we even have the older folks, too, condoning the nonsense that the younger ones are doing. Something has to change. Something has to come to a stop, man. This is a dead-end path that we're heading into. It's getting crazy out here, man. Young kids, I'm seeing flexing guns, carjacking at the age of 10. What culture is pushing and condoning this, man? Come on, we gotta keep it real. We gotta keep it honest. We gotta tell it how it is. No lies being brought up. No lies being told here. This is what's happening on a day-to-day basis. I saw a young man He was flashing a gun, talking about spinning the block on his ops. Talking about what he gonna do when he see his ops flashing his gun. Because all the music that they're pushing right now is self-destructive music. All you're hearing is about shooting, violence, drugs, drug dealing, getting money. That's all you're hearing in the music today. You tell me that is it? There's no other conscious music out there. Nobody? But why? This is what you got to do. Ask yourself, why are they only pushing this destructive music onto the black culture? Why nobody else being pushed? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of conscious rappers out there, but you don't hear from them. All you're seeing is the one, anytime I go on social media, all you're seeing is a bunch of twerking. You see women wearing the lace clothes, like they don't even cover up anything anymore. And all young girls are seeing that. I saw a video in school, even the teacher had her kids in her class singing Sexy Red song. We had Krishan Rock. Yeah, they were cheering for her. Yes, doing the despicable stuff. Driving under the influence with a kid in a car. That can't be all that we are reduced to. It can't be, man. But like I said, those are the ones that's being pushed on social media. So therefore, anything positive is being overshadowed. But only us could stop that. Stop the clicking on it. Stop the commenting on it. I saw a video. I'm going to leave you guys with this, man. I saw a video of a young man, raised well. You see him doing videos of him helping his father, working on his car. And it felt good to see that, working with his father hand to hand. But that's what I mean, man. You need more of that. More fathers being involved in their kids' life. More fathers having careers and stuff like that, raising their kids up. That's what we need to see more of. And that same young man that I'm talking about, he was in middle school. The bus, something happened with the bus driver. The bus driver went unconscious. So the bus was swerving on and off the road. You know what that young man did? He stepped in and somehow tried to control the bus and bring the bus to a stop.
Glen Hill's 8th grader A.C. Holland III noticed something was wrong, riding the bus home from school Wednesday afternoon.
I look up at the bus driver and she was just like dazed.
The bus driver passed out behind the wheel.
I'm looking and it was like her head just fell on the steering wheel.
Time to act ticking away.
4 or 5 seconds go by and we start gliding to the wrong side of the road. So I run up there and I grabbed the steering wheel.
Grabbed the wheel, took the driver's foot off the gas and guided the bus to the curb. Then AC called 911.
And then they took the driver who was experiencing the medical emergency to a hospital for care.
The Glen Hills principal and AC's parents in awe of the 14-year-old's actions. 20 other kids on the bus, all safe because AC didn't hesitate.
He was just kind of like, Dad, I saved people's lives today. And he was so excited and he was just it seemed like he wasn't nervous at all.
While he's being hailed as a hero, AC says he just did what he had to do.
It made me feel good that I know, I saved people, and yeah. And I feel more confident now and brave.
In Glendale, I'm Erica Finke, WISN 12 News.
He was able to save over 20 kids on that bus. But do you see stories like that? No, you don't. So there's a lot of good that goes on in the black community, but it's overshadowed by the majority of violence, self-destructive music, drug dealing, gang violence, drive-bys. It's being overshadowed by all of those things. And something has to change. But like I said, if we want change, only us could bring that change. But if we don't, it's only going to get worse from this point on. Like I said, we got 10 years old. Oh, you're doing carjackings. If that ain't a wake-up call for you, I don't know what else will. Until then, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. You guys have a blessed day.